When you start playing Final Fantasy XIV, you will go through one of 3 unique quest lines between level 1 and 15. These are the only quests in the game that I know of that are not shared by everyone, but instead are dictated by your starting city. This is the second video in a 3-part series exploring the lore of these starting stories. I do recommend watching my video on Ul'dah before this one, as some lore events were explained in that video and will only lightly be mentioned in this one. Don't worry, I will be right here waiting when you come back. The link is in the description. You back? Or you didn't go anywhere? Alright, wonderful. Let's join up with Gridania lore. And once again, I contemplate if I'm even fit to name a plant with this astonishing naming creativity I seem to be endowed with. This time our character is an archer, as Gridania only has 3 starting classes, them being archer, lancer and conjurer. We start in the forest city of Gridania within the Black Shroud. This area is also known as the 12-wood by the people living here. The residents do their best to live in peace with the elementals of the forest. They are protectors of the forest and the people who live within it, and are now deep part of Gridanian culture. Conjurers can communicate with these elementals through rituals, and the people of Gridania take great care to keep respectful of these beings. It is therefore only natural that Gridania is the home of the Conjurer Guild, whom are the mages who gain their power from nature. The most talented of these conjurers are those who are called hearers. Those are able to communicate with the elementals even further than the average conjurer. These hearers are the members of the Seedseer Council, which governs Gridania, the current leader being Elder Seedseer Kanisina. One of the main unique traits of these hearers is they can actually hear the elementals and hear things going on in nature, which is something the average conjurer cannot do. Within Gridania is the Order of the Twin Adder, which has their headquarters in the Adder's Nest. This is Gridania's Grand Company. They work closely with the Conjurer Guild and the Seedseer Council in protecting the people of Gridania. Along with the Adders are 2 groups under the control of the Conjurer Guild, which are the God's Quivers, who are tasked by neutralizing external threat, and the Wood Wailer, which preserve the peace within the city. Like all new characters, we start with the familiar cinematic of Hydaelyn, or the Mother Crystal, and the mysterious black hooded figure with a red mask. And then we wake up once more on a carriage with a peddler and a set of twins. While the peddler is not the same man as we met in Ul'dah, but instead one of 3 brothers, the twins will always join us on the carriage ride no matter where we start. On this ride, we are introduced to a rather amusing little species hailing from the Twinswood. These are the Muggles, who seem to have a choice of being seen, or at least are not seen by most, but it's established from the start that we can in fact see them. Now, while the Muggles live in this area, we can actually find them all across the world in Final Fantasy XIV. This is mainly because they seem to handle the Eorzean's postal service for some reason, and therefore can be found in almost every city. I can't imagine how odd it has to be that your mailman just seems to be this creature that nobody can see, and it just shows up delivering you mail from time to time. I wonder how this actually works in practice. Does your mail just appear in front of you, or do they leave it in designated places? These cheeky little creatures are actually delightful to observe. They are here to ask about if we've seen anything peculiar, but they also use the chance to steal our traveling companion's drink, to the poor man's great confusion. As the Muggles have left us, we are suddenly stopped by a member of the Gridanian Guards. A race of feathered lizard-like beings called Ixal have been invading the area, and there seems to be a battle of some kind ahead. Sadly, the guards' effort is in vain as the carriage is attacked, and we are quickly sent on our way to the city as we watch the fight rage on behind us. And that is how we enter Gridania. Our first task is of course to join the Adventuring Guild run by Mother Mion, so through this video I will simply refer to her as Mother. Now, Mother tells us to sign her name on her ledger, saying she will not stand for any silliness. And we sign our name, pretending that we do in fact not share a name with the city we stand in, because the creator is terrible at naming things. And off we are sent to get to know the city and check out the Archer Guild. So let's take a look at Gridania. Of the 3 cities, I find Gridania to be the one easiest to navigate, as it's all on a single floor, but like Ul'dah, it is split into 2 parts separated by a loading screen. We start in New Gridania, where we can find the Adventuring Guild, the Kookaboo Stable, the Aetheryte Plaza, and the Adder's Nest. The Archer Guild and the Carpenter Guild are as well in this part of the city. There are 2 exits out of the city, one leading to the Central Shroud and the other is the White Wolf's Gate, which will remain locked to us till long after level 15. There are 3 ways to enter Old Gridania, and that is where we shall go now. Old Gridania holds the market and the achievement vendor. Here we can find both the Lancer Guild and the Conjurer Guild. And for crafting and gathering we have the Botanist Guild and the Leatherworking Guild. There are as before 3 ways back to New Gridania and 2 ways to leave the city, one to the Northern Shroud and the second by boat. As we finish our tour and return to Mother, she will send us off on our first adventure. We are to go to the Bannocks, which are the training grounds of the Twin Adder, just outside of Gridania. At the Bannocks we learn that in the past 5 years since the calamity, the creatures of the forest have changed, becoming more vicious and even described by some as bloodthirsty monsters. The current concern is though the Ixal activity has been increasing. They are a species of lizard-like birds who have over the past generation lost their feathers and ability to fly. They live predominantly in the highlands of Coertha and their former homeland of Selfatol, but are currently in large group within the Black Shroud. It's also noted that at the same time as the Ixal started increasing their activity, a suspicious individual has been spotted around the Twelveswood. The most recent sightings of this mysterious figure have been around a place called the Live Men's Stump, which is a small clearing with a large stump in the middle. We head over there but do not find any mysterious person, but instead a sword sticking out of the stump. As we examine the sword, 2 people show up named Ida and Papalimo. They are scholars here to examine the etheric disturbance just like Thancred. When the etheric flow is disturbed in the Black Shroud, the forest does tend to go a little bit crazy. This is shown by some of the trees in the area who suddenly turn hostile and attack us. We finally manage to take down the trees and spot a crystal left behind on the ground. Taking it up, we are led into the same vision we had after beating the Void Fiend in Ul'dah. We gain Hydaelyn's name and are instructed to bring light to the world. As we wake up from the vision, we spot Ida and Papalimo. They have found the corpse of an Ixal chieftain who did most likely own the sword stuck in the stump. But why he would put it in the stump and anger the elementals is a mystery to us. Still, we take the blade and head back to the Bannocks. With this task done and the investigation no longer in our hands, as a newly arrived adventurer, we are quickly given another task. We are to gather some Chikyos eggs so they can be inspected for illness. This is a part of a long-term effort to keep in check a highly infectious disease called the Creeping Death. This blight only affects Hayur and has before made its round in Gridania. It is only recently since any method was found to save the life of those infected. As before, if you got it, you were sure to die. In one of the past outbreaks, it actually wiped out almost 1/3 of the Hayur in Gridania, and while medicine has now been found, it's still a disease the Gridanians wish to keep in check. So up we go, gathering the eggs for the examination. As we return, we are sent on a second errand to gather up some of the surveying equipment belonging to a conjurer. Some new recruits were sent out to survey, but were frightened by hostile creatures in the area and left the equipment behind. The goal of this is to survey the forest, as it has changed quite a bit after the calamity, requiring maps and other such information to be updated. This is also seen as an excellent training exercise by the Twin Adders, though this time it does seem to have failed a little bit, as we have to gather the equipment and the recruits, well, I have no idea where they went. Having found the equipment, we bring them to the conjurer in question, who sends us off to kill some Anole, which are these kinda dinosaur-looking things in the area. They visually remind me quite a bit of small raptors. Well, these Anole are quite numerous and very aggressive and have been attacking the conjurer when they're trying to work. So we go up and kill a few of them so the conjurer can have some peace as he works. After this, we are told a group of wood dwellers escorting a party of conjurers to the dungeon of Spirithold for a ceremony have been attacked. We are sent to speak to Alest, which is the guard of the ruins in question. We are to assist him with the evacuation. Spirithold is one of the dungeons built by the Gelmoran civilization in the Black Shroud. It is no longer in use, and a healer with a group of conjurers is there to perform a ritual, giving the ruin back to the elementals. This is part of the ongoing effort to keep a good relationship with the elementals. With the ritual being disrupted though, the elementals might see it as an insult, so we need to hurry and help. Meeting Alesta, we are quickly sent into the ruins where we find members of the party injured and dazed. As we get into the deepest part of the ruin, we finally find the hearer. But we are not alone, the black-robed mysterious figure is there too, and they summon up a golem to attack us. We take this golem down just as Papalimo and Ida appear. There we have a vision, one showing the past in a similar fashion we had with Tancred in Ul'dah. Like then, I do not feel this vision does a great job at indicating the passing of time. First we see Papalimo and Ida in the forest, noting the increased activity of Ixal in the area, as they fear they might plan to summon Garuda, which is their primal. We again see them as they examine the state of the forest as Balmut stands much lower in the sky. They note that the forest seems to be withering, similar to an area called Emerald Moss, which is an area that actually ended up getting destroyed in the Calamity. Finally, we see them right before they meet us at Liveman's Stump. Ida is complaining about the goggles both they and Thancred use to examine the etheric flow. Papalimo makes a point that this is the finest of Sharlayan technology. In the 3 starting areas we will meet 4 characters that are Sharlayan, them being Thancred, Ida, Papalimo and Istola. The Sharlayan themselves we will learn more about when we reach the stories of Heavensward and in the upcoming expansion pack of Endwalker. But as of now, it's good to know that these 4 and other within the same order are of Sharlayan origin. The main thing we need to know about the Sharlayan is that they are not in Eorzea at the moment, but they are a culture of scholars. The pair explains the importance of this ceremony and asks us to return to Mother, telling her what happened. They in the meantime will get the hearer back to the Conjurer Guild safely and have another hearer sent out to finish the ritual. Speaking to Mother, she asks us not to tell anyone about what happened, else people might get frightened that the elementals might be injured. Instead she sends us out again, this time to Bent Branch Meadows. That is where Kokobos are bred and raised. The stables were built after the Calamity with the blessing of the elementals, and some of the finest Kokobos in the realm are raised there. The business there is called Mughul's Gift Mounts, named after an incident during the Calamity when the woods were burning down. Geetha, the owner, was trapped in the fire and a Mughal appeared and pulled her to safety. When they built the business, it got its name in honor of her life savior. The moment the stables are having an issue with some local creatures stealing Kokobo eggs, so we are sent off to kill a few, then onward we go to clean mushrooms of a large log used for traveling. It's at the end of this cleaning where we speak to a watchman named Theodore, who spotted a shadowy person from his tower. He asks us to go check out the area just to make sure it isn't this mysterious person everyone has been talking about. Theodore claims he can't go because he can't leave his post, but actually I believe it's simply that he is extremely afraid of heights, which is the reason why we had to tidy up the log, and why I think he does not want to walk down the log to go check out this area. Us not being afraid of height, we head down and find a leather bag and a sign of camp. We bring this to Watchman Rosalind, who finds it peculiar a person might make a camp so close to Bent Branch Meadows, as the creatures in this area are quite hostile. So it holds little logic to camp in the woods when you could sleep safely at the meadows, except of course if you do not wish to be seen. We are instructed to run to other watchmen in the area and let them know about this person, so they can be especially vigilant. One of the watchmen, named Elgar, asks us to run a little errand for him as well. You see, a Lalafell peddler claims he was attacked by winged beasts up the road, and Elgar knows that this is the area where a guy named Lothair is supposed to be on watch. Elgar believes that Lothair is not doing his job properly, that he prefers to stand at his spot and watch the road instead of patrolling his area as he should. So we head over and find not only northern vultures, but a nest with an egg. Dealing with that issue, we then head to Lothair and point out that there was a nest of hostile birds only a few steps away from his watch post. Lothair is suitably sheepish and promises to do better in the future. And then, in the true adventuring fashion, Lothair asks us to do a task for him too. We are to go find Hira Leone, who booked a passage on a boat at the Mirror Plank, but before then had to go check on Hedge Tree. These are the sacred trees within the forest. We do find her at the Hedge Tree, where she has just recently finished her work. But she asks us to run to Mirror Planks and have her trip delayed, as she is hearing the elemental whispering about an evil presence in the vicinity of Tamtar Deepcroft. Was there another Gelmoran ruin within the forest? So we run to Mirror Planks and inform Armel about the development. And of course he has an errand for us too. A wagon was attacked by some of the forest creature earlier, leaving the cargo scattered about. We are to fetch the cargo and bring it to Keitha at Bent Branch Meadows. We fetch the cargo and meet the troublemaker, which seems to be a big-ass toad. Like a size a toad should not come in. That thing is huge. So, anyway, we kill the toad and bring the cargo to Keitha. After our delivery, we end up speaking with a distressed handler named Lukelot. He's tending to a kookaboo named Leah. She's actually really valuable because her bloodline is from Oranos, the greatest kookaboo from Gridanian stables, so her offsprings are highly prized. But something has happened to her egg. It is missing. We are asked to go search for it, so we run around asking questions. By talking to some people, we managed to establish the following timeline. It seems that while Lukelot was away, someone went to the kookaboo stables. This someone knew how to handle the birds. This person seems to have been an Ellison peddler who was very twitchy, and after this he ran towards the deep crofts. Lukelot believes this was an Isgardian like himself. As the kookaboo eggs are almost impossible to hatch by an untrained person, it is most likely somebody familiar with the craft of raising them. The only peculiarity is that Isgard is in the opposite direction of the deep crofts, so off we're sent towards the deep croft to see if we can find this peculiar person and the egg. There, hidden in the grass, we do come across Leia's egg and a Muggle named Kuplu Kopo. We learn that Kuplu is a Muggle that seems to live at the stables, and they saw the shady thief coming in to try to steal the egg. So they stole the egg from the thief and hid it here. While we talk to Kuplu, the thief shows up. The thief's name is Janremi Blackheart, and he is not a very smart man. He doesn't seem to have the sense to just go away and leave us alone, so we kill him and bring the egg back to Lukelot. There, Lukelot asks us to do him one last favor. He's been seeing the Ixals around the Guardian tree, and asks us to let Mother know about it, as he would know who to talk to. The Guardian tree is sacred by the Gridanians, as it's believed to be the one of the oldest in the Black Shroud, and is the home of the Great One, an elder elemental who watches over the forest and their people. We quickly bring the message to Mother, who sends us immediately to talk to Bowlord Levin. He sees the seriousness of the matter, fearing the Ixal might be planning to do something with the tree. He also believes this mysterious figure has something to do with it. He begins forming a plan to protect the tree just as one of his men comes running in. The Ixals have gathered in mass around the tree, and it's too late to make any plans now. Seeing there is no time to plan, Bowlord Levin recruits us to assist, and we and the God's Quiver head to the Guardian tree. We rush over there, finding the Ixals already there. The Ixals plan to gain a crystal from the tree, strong enough to help them summon Garuda, and that way take over the forest. We attack them, stopping this twisted ritual. As the fight ends, the God's Quiver run to another area to handle more Ixals, while we stay behind. This is when, just like in Ul'dah, the mysterious figure dressed in black cloak actually shows itself to us. He summons up a demon-like creature with the intent to kill us. Thankfully, like in Ul'dah, our Sharlayan friends show up. Ida and Papalimo assist us in taking down not only the demon, but also the mysterious figure, who leaves behind a peculiar corrupt-looking crystal that shatters into smoke. Having saved the tree and killed the mysterious figure that was riling up the Ixals, we return to Gridania, where we get the honor of meeting with the Elder Seedseer. He gives us the honor of being the emissary in the festival Gridanians call the Green Bliss, where the emissary represent mankind in a ceremony of blessing. For it, we need to wear a special mask made out of the blessed wood from the Guardian tree itself. With the mask ready, we take part in the festival, which we do not manage to finish as we pass out, seeing the vision of the leaders during the calamity, just like in Ul'dah. Waking up at the Adventure Guild, we are quickly sent by Mother to speak to the Elder Seedseer, who asks us to be an envoy for Gridania and deliver the letter about a remembrance service to the other leaders. It seems the leader in a starting city will always be the one to send out the letters for the service, as it is a handy way to get the player to visit the other cities for the first time. And that is the time for us, as we step up on the airship and fly off to the other cities where the story will unite. Next week is the final part of this series, where we explore the starting story of Limsa Lominsa. And now at the end, I do have a question for you, something we can discuss in the comments. Which starting city did you play through? Did you enjoy the story there? Let's talk about it, but for now, I hope you have a lovely day.